In the dividend chapter, today we are going to discuss about the types of dividend policies. So, as we know that the dividend is nothing but the company earns a profit. Once the company earns the profit, there are two portions to it. Number one is that it has to satisfy the shareholders, that is, it has to declare the dividend. Whatever the share of the profit which is given to the shareholders, that is called the dividend. And some portion of its earnings and the profit has to be kept by the company also, and that is called the retained earnings. There are two purposes, two different reasons why the company has to declare the dividend and why the company has to keep some amount of the profit as a retained earnings. That is, number one is the shareholders expect certain amount of the dividend. That's why the very basic reason majority of the shareholders will be investing or purchasing the shares of any company is to expect that there will be a dividend that will come to them. And that expectation has to be fulfilled by the company, so it has to declare the dividend. And the second thing is that the company has its future expansion program, like it has to invest into a new project, or it has to open another branch sister concern, or it has to invest into plant and machinery, or for the expansion program it has to do. Now it's a company which has to decide that how much dividend has to be declared and how much retained earnings or the amount of the profit has to be kept by the company. It depends on any given situation of the company. It differs from company to company, industry to industry, and the business to business. Now, what's having been said that the types of the dividend policies are, the first one is the stable dividend policy. So, in case of the stable dividend policy, regardless of its earnings, whatever it may be the earning may be 50,000 or 1 lakh or something, the dividend is stable. There is no fluctuation. Meaning, 1 year they have declared 1% dividend, another year they have declared 50% dividend. No, this is a huge fluctuation. So, if they are declaring a dividend of 10%, constantly and consistently over a period of time, they have to declare the dividend around the 10%. 10, 11, or 9, or 10, constantly they have to declare the dividend. Constant payout ratio should be made, right? Then here the dividends are fixed. The percentage of the earnings is fixed. For example, if the company is earning 15k, it's a 10%. The amount might vary. If the company earns 1 lakh, then 10% of 1 lakh is 10,000. But percentages remain same. That is a 10%. That is called the stable dividend policy. And the amount may not vary, only the percentages. But constant payout ratio, in case of the constant payout ratio, the percentage is fixed. For example, if the company is declaring the dividend 10% and the company is earning 50,000 as a profit, 10% of 50,000 would be the 5,000. If the company earns 1 lakh as a profit, still the 10% is constant. 10% of 1 lakh will be the 10,000 would be the ratio. The percentage is fixed here, where the amount is fixed. Then residual dividend policy. Residual dividend policy in the sense, first the company, assume that the company earns rupees 1 lakh. The company first incurs all the whatever the requirement of the company will purchase, company will expect for its whatever the amount is there. First, the company has to look into for the growth, and whatever is left out. For example, out of the 1 lakh, the company invested into a project 10,000, and into the machine 50,000, into some other land and building, another 20,000. So left out is 20 to 30,000. The 20 to 30,000 they will give residual. Residual means leftover. Leftover. Whatever is leftover, that will be declared as a dividend. Then hybrid policy. Most of the companies will follow not one policy, but they might follow the combination of two or three policies. Like it might follow the stable as well as the residual policy. It means that the company will declare a dividend at the end after meeting all its requirement. Whatever is left over, out of that, regularly, consistently, year after year, it declares a dividend of 10% every year. So it's a combination of both. One is that the company is not declaring the dividend upfront. The company is meeting all its requirements, its purchasing, machinery, everything it's doing. Then whatever is left over, from that leftover, it is declaring 5%, 6% or 10% regularly. So that is called a hybrid policy. And once it's decided the type of the dividend, the type of the dividend which is declared, then it is a form of the dividend. In what form the dividend is declared? In what form the dividend is declared as a portion of the dividend. So the first one is the cash dividend. The second here, there could be a stock dividend, there can be property dividend, there can be scrip dividend. All these things are the various forms of the dividend. Okay. Number one, cash dividend. So cash dividend is nothing but paying out the cash. Paying out the dividends in cash. For example, the company is earning rupees 1 lakh. Out of 1,50,000, the company is declaring. For its shareholders, it's giving in cash. But it is very impractical way of the things today. But this form of the dividend, nobody is following. Everybody would transfer it into the bank account. Everybody is transferring that to the bank account. So cash dividend, I think, is not a suitable form of the dividend in this presentation. Stock dividend. Stock dividend is nothing but the company is earning. The company is earning the amount, but they are not giving you, they are not transferring the amount to your bank account. They are not transferring the cash. The company is giving you the dividend or providing or transferring you the dividend in the form of the shares. They will give you shares. For example, a company is saying the share value of the company is assume 10 rupees per share. And the company has to declare a dividend of 10,000. So 10,000 it will give it will not declare any single rupee dividend in the form of the cash or bank transfer. It will give it instead of that, they will give you the extra shares. Shares they will give. And that shares again will fetch the dividend in future. So instead of giving you a cash or a bank transfer,